Do you ever feel like stress is killing you? Well, it actually could be. Research has shown that prolonged periods of stress can lead to increased inflammation throughout your entire system, and that can lead to the onset of diabetes, heart disease. It can also contribute to a higher incidence of dementia. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, you were stressed before, and now I just gave you something more to be stressed about. Well, how about this? I'm going to trade you 5 ways to reduce stress. The good news is that you actually can reduce stress. If you think about what is stress, historically it would have been a good thing because we've all heard of the concept of the fight or flight reaction. So in the days when our ancestors were being chased by lions or having to hunt down mammoths, those extra stress hormones could rev up your heart and give you the little extra oomph that you needed to either run away or take down your prey. Well, we've changed. The world is different. Now, the things that are stressing us are things that aren't likely to actually kill us, but they're not likely to stop either. They're going to keep going on an ongoing basis. So what we have to do is figure out how can we schedule some time in our lives to do things that will let us mentally get away from the things that are causing us stress. We could physically go somewhere, but we can also do some things that get our mind into a different place. So let's go through my top 5 list of ways to reduce stress. This is not an ordered list. Number 1 isn't going to do you more good than number 2. So what you should do is think about incorporate all of these or some of these, whatever works for you. Number 1 is reading. I don't mean the kind of doom scrolling that we tend to do on our phones these days. That is not going to help reduce stress. What I'm talking about is disconnecting from the outside world. Go sit in a nice quiet place and read an actual book or a magazine, something that gets your mind into a different place. Maybe you like reading fiction. Maybe you like reading nonfiction. I personally like science fiction and fantasy. Maybe you like a good mystery or a history of the Roman Empire, for instance. It really doesn't matter. It's just something that lets you get your mind out of the world that's causing you stress and into a world that's not causing you stress. Even if it's just for a little while. Schedule 30 minutes a day to go sit somewhere and just really get into a good book. Milton in Paradise Lost said, "The mind is a place unto itself. It can make a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven." You can go somewhere in your mind that's completely different than where you are physically. And this is a great way to reduce your stress. Number 2 is connecting with nature. I think that our minds, our brains have an inbuilt need to be connected to the natural world. For me, it's nature photography, wildlife photography. I love to get out and go for hikes and take pictures of birds and animals. I love the alligators here in Florida. I love the birds that we have here. I like to take pictures of sunsets. For you, maybe it's not going for a walk. Maybe it's doing something else. Maybe it's having house plants around you or having a really nice lawn that you can go and enjoy or pets in your life. But it's a chance to connect with nature. And I'll tell you one thing, water is a very powerful thing. Running water especially is great for helping us to relax. I think if you close your eyes and you try really hard to imagine a gentle rain or a stream of water flowing by or a lake or an ocean, I think it will help you relax. Which leads us to the next one. Number 3, which is meditation. If you actually did what I said and closed your eyes and imagined the sound of the water and the sight of the rain, the smell of the rain, that's a form of meditation. Meditation, much like I described with reading, gives you a chance to get yourself disconnected from the world that's causing you stress and to focus on something like the sound of your breathing. Or for me, my favorite meditation is to literally imagine a waterfall. Just to imagine that I'm seated at the base of a waterfall and I listen to the sounds of the water falling. I see the water falling. I smell the earthy smells of all the plants around. What a therapist once told me was when you use all of your senses in your imagination, it's really hard for the stress to come at you because your mind engages. You engage multiple centers of your brain to do that imagination. So that's a great way to help reduce stress. Number 4 is connecting with your community. Especially in the U.S., we have this romantic notion of the lone wolf, the cowboy who's riding off into the sunset. He came to town, he righted the wrongs, and he rode off into the sunset. But if you want to think about what does the next day look like, he's sitting out there by himself in the wilderness with his horse, and he's probably talking to his horse and waiting to hear back from it. Humans were not meant to be alone. We are meant to have a community and to have the support of a community and to offer support. Sometimes it's just as important for you to offer support to other people in your community as it is for you to receive that support in terms of making you feel better. So I would encourage you to call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Connect with them online. If you can, it's even better. Go have a meal with somebody. There is a great power in breaking bread with other people, with literally sitting. You can imagine going back to the ancient days of sitting around a fire and sharing a meal, sharing stories, and sharing a good time. And I think that is a great way to help you reduce your stress. Okay, before we go to the 5th one on the list here, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to hear more stories like this, and just as a heads up, I am going to be doing an in-depth video on each one of these topics. So if that's something you think you would like, make sure you hit subscribe and then hit the bell so that you'll receive notifications. So number 5 is a biggie. It's a very important one. It is exercise. If we think about that fight or flight reaction, what is it really? It comes down to chemistry. It is a flooding of hormones and chemicals in your body. And exercise can help essentially reduce those, because that's exactly what they're there for. They were there to make you better at exercise, i.e. running and hunting and whatever. But and now they sit in your system, making your heart pound, making you feel tense. But if you get out there and exercise, then it's going to essentially burn up those chemicals out of your system and give you a chance to relax. You will almost always feel more relaxed after exercise. Now, there's lots of ways to exercise, ranging from the hyper difficult, hyper cardio, hyper lifting weights. Using the word hyper, I guess I'm hyper. But it can also be something very gentle or relaxing, like walking. One of the things my wife and I do is try to walk almost every day. We do at least 30 minutes pretty close to every day. And then we do additional stuff on other days. If you're feeling stressed and you're feeling fight or flight, go fly, go run. If your body's telling you to run, go for a run. It will actually do you a lot of good. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the top 5 ways that I can think of to help you reduce stress. You can't get rid of stress, and you will probably always have stress in your life. But if you follow some of these tips, you can at least reduce the effects of the stress on your body. Again, if you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you'd like to hear more. I'm going to be going into depth. You can also subscribe to the newsletter, which is linked down in the notes below. Both on this channel and in the newsletter, I'm going to give you stories. I'm going to give you recipes. I'm going to give you ideas for how you can live a more healthy life so that you can live better, live longer, and learn how to schedule some tranquility into your life. Take care, everybody.